Hello and welcome to the RV Living Show. We are going to be talking to you today about how we get internet on the road. But before we get started, watch this quick intro. The RV life. We're surrounded with the message that it's a life you have to wait until retirement to have and a life that only some can afford. And while it might be reality for those who want to believe that's true, we're on a mission to change that mindset and help people to stop wondering and start wandering to create a life they love.
Join us in conversations about how to design your RV life. We're Brian and Luann Street, and this is the RV Living Show.
Hello and welcome to the RV Living Show. We're Brian and Luann Street of Where the Streets Wander. We have an RV lifestyle blog that offers inspiration, education, and encouragement for the RV life. You can check us out at streetswander.com. For those of you who don't know us already.
Welcome everyone.
Welcome to everyone who's with us live and on the replay. Go ahead and tell us where you're from, where you're watching from today. We would love to interact with you in the comments after we share what we've got for you today. Okay, so today's topic is all about how we get internet on the road. This is a big topic for people, whether they're going full-time or whether you just want to have internet on the weekends or on your vacations when you travel in your RV.
It is a big topic, and sometimes it can be rather complicating.
It can be, depending on what your needs are. And so before we tell you how we get internet, we wanted to kind of walk through some of the process that you may have to do when you're assessing your own needs. So when you're going to be assessing your needs, you really need to be thinking about how you're going to do certain things or what you need internet for.
That's right. Let's start over at the top. How are you going to watch TV? There are some options out there, but it's something you need to start thinking about, if you're planning on going, especially if you're thinking of going full time.
Or even on the weekends and vacations. I mean, even though we RV to escape, you may not want to escape from TV. Maybe that's going to be the time you get to watch all the games that you enjoy because you have more time. So this is something that you're going to need to assess is how are you going to watch TV?
That's right. Next, how often do you check your email? Most people today do check their email, I would say, on your phone. That would probably be the quickest way to check it. But there's also occasions you may want to sit down take your laptop and sit down there and check your email and do some responding. It would be much easier to use your laptop.
Yeah, that's for sure. And, and then how much time are you going to need online? Because if you're like Brian, you need a lot of time online because YouTube's a big deal to him.
Got to watch something. Right?
You got to watch something. And I can't say I'm too far behind. I mean, we order from Amazon, I check my email. Now, of course, our needs are greater than those of you who are just going to be, traveling and not working from the road because we work from the road. Our internet needs are a lot greater, but we're going to get into that in a little bit. So after we talk about assessing your needs, we're going to be talking about what is available on the road.
That's where we start.
And I have to change slides.
There it is. Let's talk about TV options first. Probably the number one thing that if you're full-time, satellite TV has came up or else you already use satellite TV. That's probably where most people start out because you can get the dish, maybe get one mounted on your RV or one that's portable. You can place it somewhere near your campsite and maybe find a spot in the trees or, it's clearing so you can line up to the satellite.
And when we bought our RV, it actually it was already wired with a Dish Network Wally in the back so that all we had to do was pay for service, turn it on, and be able to watch TV. So depending on what your TV options are, that's going to affect what you need for internet.
That's right. Speaking of satellite TV, it works great, but if you get into a really thick campground of trees, it may not work so good.
Yeah, we often see people with the portable satellite antennas. They're out there in the front of their RVs trying to place them because they want the shade because, shade's premium when you're in an RV and it's hot outside.
Right.
But you want TV at the same time, and they're trying to get it out there and place it just right. So that satellite TV can be a hard thing to have, or it can be a great thing to have.
Yeah, another thing is campground cable. Now we find this kind of hit and miss.
Yeah, not all campgrounds offer cable. When they do, it can either the plugs to their boxes don't work right, or the service that they have for cable doesn't include very many channels. So if you're thinking that you really love TV, then relying on campground cable probably isn't a good choice.
Yeah, we don't. We found most of the time we've tried it is that you've had the pictures the quality was not that good, and we didn't really offer any.
And
channels.
It took a little while to set up,
yeah,
to get the channels on board and things.
Yeah, it's pretty complicated. It could be time consuming, to say that. Next thing is everybody probably got an RV antenna set up for TV.
Now we got one on our roof. It came installed so that we can get whatever area channels there are on our TV, and we have to tune into them. But if you're relying on this, you're going to be relying on the local channels. And if you're out somewhere, you're not going to be having TV because the broadcast channels don't go out that far. But it is a good option for going to your local campground that's closer into a bigger city or town, so that you can maybe watch TV that way.
Right. And the last thing here we're going to talk about is cell data. Last resort, you may want to use this to maybe stream Netflix or some type of Amazon Prime or something. But this can be used another option. If you plan on using this is going to affect your choices later on as well. How much data you actually need.
Yeah, so when you think about those TV options, you're going to be thinking about how much TV are you watching, and then of course how much Wi-Fi, cell phone data coverage that you're going to be needing. And so we're going to kind of pull this all together. So we're going to be talking next about online options.
Online, yes, here we go. If you want to get online, first thing we think about is park Wi-Fi.
Which everywhere we've been except one campground, the park Wi-Fi has been terrible.
Yeah, I mean, you could check email. That's about it.
Occasionally.
And most of the time it was either up or down.
You won't be streaming.
You won't be streaming, and a lot of times you have to take your computer and walk up near an office or somewhere where it's available.
And those are options for those people who aren't super online dependent. Now, let's talk for a minute about Wi-Fi boosters on your RV. We've been to several RV parks where they have told us that if we had a Wi-Fi booster, which were very popular when we started full-timing, and let me explain what a Wi-Fi booster is. It's a booster box that then you can put an antenna out, and it helps bring the broadband to you that they have in the park. It brings it from the tower that's in the park or the point of access in the park to you so that you can use more of it. And one park told us.
Yes, they told us they asked us if we actually had one. We said no. We said, well, that's good, because if you're caught with one in the park, we could actually kick you out.
So they're clamping down on that because people with the Wi-Fi boosters are hogging the broadband for everyone in the park. And so the whole idea of Wi-Fi is that people will be able to access it for their minimal needs, not the data hogs that usually kind of take all that Wi-Fi and use it. So
another option is hotspot a cell phone.
So this is interesting. Some cell phone plans are starting to take away the hotspot feature on your cell phone. So depending on what your plan is and if you're getting a new plan or not, be careful. Then just assuming that you're going to have it as part of your plan, make sure you ask, because number one, we only have 15 gigs on each of our cell phone to hotspot. And also the 15 gigs can run out pretty quickly. But then in addition to that, there are only so many things that you can hotspot, to or with your cell phone. You're going to be limited on what you're going to be able to access and watch and things like that.
Yes. And plus, every time you go to use it, you have to, set it up. For some reason, it doesn't save the settings.
So then the next option is your cell data plan. which is like a jetpack. If you've ever, we're going to show you a picture of one of those in a minute. That would take a cell phone signal or SIM card, and it has data on it that you would be able to use for your linking your computers, linking your getting your email, watching TV, linking your Fire Sticks and your other plug-in things. I forgot what the other one is. To your TV, so you can watch TV. So that jetpack can really help you do that.
Yes, here's the thing about the data plans is that this is a different plan because it doesn't have any voice on it. It's basically all data. That's why it's called a data plan. You can't get these like from a Verizon or AT&T or a T-Mobile. Sometimes they offer plans, but the funny thing about these plans, when you go to one of them companies, it's not a very good plan because they say it's unlimited. Not going into great details, it is limited. It just
you're throttled after so many gigs.
You're throttled, so you have to kind of watch what you're buying there. They're also a company. I just found a new company. We'll show you a link to them later that maybe you could check out for that. And the last thing here we want to talk about is satellite. Now,
so Brian's been pretty excited about this with the onboarding of Starlink.
Yes, Starlink is coming. We know that it may not be something that's going to take away, fix everything. It's going to have its limited problems as well, but it may be an option for the future. So that's something we're watching closely, and hopefully that it does work out to provide another source to get online.
So I don't know how many of you are following the Starlink kinds of things, but the hope is that at some point in the next 5-10 years that it would really impact our lifestyles as RVers to be able to get internet wherever you go for a more reasonable price if Elon Musk does what he says he's going to do.
Let's hope so.
Let's hope so. Okay. So now we're going to be going on here's what the jetpacks and routers look like.
Yeah, this is where we started. We started with actually the Verizon jetpack. The 8800 is one of the ones we recently had.
And we full-timed on that for almost 4 years.
Yes, it worked fine. The thing about it was sometimes a little bit harder to get a signal. We had to, place it different places in the RV, and hopefully we get a signal. But if we could get a signal and get it connected, it seemed to work quite well. There's other options out there. I just put a couple of things on here. You've got from different companies. They may sell different brands. So getting one of these for use for online is definitely a start in going in the right direction. They also make routers there at the bottom. There's a MoFi. That router.
Both of these are routers.
Both of those are routers, yeah. But routers are good too. They do the same thing. They sometimes the routers have a little more whistles and bells to them to make them work better.
Well, the antennas and the boosters inside to receive the cell signal better. But anytime you have a router, you're still going to have to put a data plan SIM card into these to get them to work.
Yeah.
Where these are the routers themselves with the SIM cards in it. These are ones that you would purchase separately that have better signal ability, bringing it in, and then your SIM cards, you would put them inside of these routers.
Yeah, they're only as good as the SIM card as far as how much data you could use. And that's really, and a lot of times it's very pricey data as well. But there's another thing to think about of these is the signal strength from the tower does affect these. Making sure that you get a good signal is very important. You may have to have like a little add-on, little antenna or something in some of the places where you go to really be able to use this type of a jetpack or router.
So we found that with this little one right here, we had just a little window antenna that we were able to stick up in the window that helped a lot in various places.
Yeah, we could move it from window to window and find one that's pointing towards the tower.
Yeah. So these are some of the places that if you need help figuring out your Wi-Fi setup, Techno RV is a great place to go. Eric and Tammy are super knowledgeable about the different routers and things that they offer. They have PepWave, which is what we're going to be talking about that we have right now here in a minute. And RV Mobile Internet is Chris and Cherie Dunphy. They have been around forever. They were RVers, now they're boaters. I think they're still RVers occasionally. But if you're really going to be working from the road and want to make sure you always have signal and always have a data source, then they are great people. You can do coaching with them and help configure your setup. And then this last one is what Brian just discovered.
Yeah, this is Nomad Wholesale. They sell SIM cards. Basically, you can buy a SIM card, or actually, I think they even have a router combination there as well. But I've been reading some reviews about them. They offer unlimited plans, is what you're looking for. I'm actually considering getting a plan itself because of just trying it out, because they got really good reviews. So hopefully we'll know more about that in the future.
And when it comes to picking your cell phone plans and your data plans, we really recommend that you have at least two sources or two companies that you would pull from. Verizon and AT&T are the big two that would make sure that you're completely connected wherever you go. Of course, wherever you go, if you're out in the woods underneath trees back away from tons of cell towers, you're not going to have anything. Like, it's just because they're two of the best, the coverage is still limited depending on where you are in the United States. But we recommend, if one of you has AT&T, the other one get Verizon, or if you just buy one Verizon jetpack and you are able to still hotspot from your AT&T, you can always have some sort of internet to at least get you by if you needed it.
That's for sure.
So this is our setup.
Yeah, this is our setup. We use it's a PepWave Max Transit Dual. It's a Cat 12 modem. Now, this particular modem is more of a high-end modem. The reason we chose this is, the PepWave brand is really good, but this also has the capability of putting dual SIM cards in it. So that means I can have a SIM card from like Verizon and also a SIM card from AT&T, which we do have in there. Now, the thing is, I depend on who has the better signal. I can switch between whichever carrier I want. We wanted this option because it was easy to switch between carriers. One thing we did like about it is the fact that we have this antenna. It's called a pointing 7-in-1. You can see at the top left-hand side of the screen there, the little white thing sticking up that's the roof of my RV.
Here.
Yeah, that's it. That's the antenna. It's just a flush mount. I put that up there, and it works really good. That's important to have an antenna up as high as you can get it, and I figure the top of the RV is about as high as you want to get on that. And right beside it there, that is where in our tech box, that is where that router is actually mounted. It's kind of hard to get a picture in there. It was pretty tight, but at least I can show you how it's mounted in there, and it works great. I mean, of course, I will say this about anything you buy. The equipment you buy is only going to work as good as the tower you're near. The bottom line, if the tower can't handle the speed, then you are not, no matter how fast your equipment is, you're not going to be running any faster. No matter, we've used this there's actually a park here in Florida that we had perfect signal. We had, if you talk about perfect signal, this thing was absolutely great, but we had absolutely zero speed on internet.
Yes. And that was Thousand Trails, Orlando. So if anybody's heading there, don't be prepared. You're not going to be able to do a lot. I mean, we managed to get by, and for working, we went to the library, and we were able to stream some Netflix at night when it was good. But being so close to Orlando, or maybe even because of so many people now who are working remotely, like the whole broadband systems are really, really polluted and full of traffic, and so that becomes a challenge.
Yeah, I just want to say that you're only as good as the tower you're near. I mean, if the tower can't handle it, you're out of luck. And this is the best tree I can find. When you see one of these near your campground, you know you might be in good shape.
Brian looks for these trees. So again, we just wanted to bring to you today some options about assessing where you're at. Now, think about this. If you're not super data dependent, you would be fine with a smaller jetpack. You might even be able to check your router at home and see how much data you're really using, and then assess what kind of plan you're going to need to buy. And then that way you're sure that you're going to be able to do the same things in your RV that you're doing at home. And again, if you're only using this for weekends and holidays or vacations, then your needs are going to be different than those who are actually working from their RV.
Yeah, like she mentioned earlier, the little jetpack we had. Matter of fact, I should have brought it to show it to you. It worked for years.
It did
just fine.
Just fine.
We knew that the higher demands we needed for the internet, we had to beef up our system a little bit. So you probably don't need the type of same system we could have if your internet needs are not like ours. So.
And of course, when we travel, we pick places that we're going to be able to have good cell signal, data signal, because we're working. Those of you who want to unplug, RVing is the perfect way to do that. And if you just want to rely on the park Wi-Fi or you're hotspotting on your phone for a little bit of signal that you need to just get the bare necessities done, then that's all you need. But again, those resources that we gave you, those 3 URLs, we can post them with this video. Those are great places to start your journey with, looking for the actual setups that you may need. And of course, your carriers, T-Mobile, AT&T, Verizon. So, okay, so we are going to jump into the comments, and we're going to be talking to everyone about this topic. So let's see who's here. Kimberly says hello. She actually says howdy. Howdy. Diane says hi, Brian and Luann. Glad you were able to find this. We're glad too, Diane. Madeline says hi from Florida. Someone who's watching from our Facebook group, Sunbury KOA near Columbus, Ohio. So for those of you who are watching from our group, Stop Wondering and Start RVing, if you give StreamYard permission at the top in the video, then I can see your name. Otherwise, it just says Facebook user until I get back into Facebook. But thank you for watching today. Ship to Shore, Brad, Barbara, yay. Good to see you guys. Tina says, yay, I'm here. Yay, Tina. Cindy, hey, from North Carolina. And Kimberly says, I agree with Brian. I need access all the time. Yes.
You gotta have what you gotta have. Right?
That's right. We knew we were kindred spirits a long time ago. Jill says she couldn't see us, just the slide. Yeah, we had some slides up without us for a few minutes. Kimberly says the lithium battery in my jetpack swelled up and could have exploded had I not noticed. That actually happened to us too. Ours swelled up. That's something that is a known issue with them. They get hot when you're using them all the time, or I don't know if it's just the heat or.
I think that might be the fact that we had to leave ours plugged in all the time. It was just kind of a hassle to unplug it and plug it back in, and I think basically overcharged and overheated.
All right, Cynthia Furman. Hey, Cindy, thanks for coming in today. Kimberly says after struggling with hotspots, jetpacks, wine guards, she splurged on a 2.5 5.0 router through Techno RV. Highly recommend Techno RV. We'll put that link in there. No data cap, no throttling, and then get monthly subscriptions. Just works for me. Yeah, that's a great option. Thanks for sharing that. Mm-hmm. And Madeline says, really great info. Thanks. Well, you're welcome. We're so glad that you guys joined us today. We love talking about RVing and our RV life and how we work things out to be just like at home. That's right. Since this is home now.
We'll put the links to all the information in below this video when we put it up.
Yep, we sure will. So thanks for joining us today, and we'll be back next week. And actually, we haven't decided on a topic. So if you guys have some burning desire to know something, please email us at hello@streetswander.com, and we will talk about it in the future RV Living Show. We would love to hear from you. So we will see you next week on the same, and on Facebook or YouTube, depending on where you're watching right now, at 2 o'clock Wednesday. Actually, you know what? I think maybe next week we're taking off. So we kind of did a shift in travel plans, which, that's what we're RVing for, right? Our kids are going to meet us at the beach in Charleston, South Carolina. So we may not have a show next week. So if you'll probably get an email and it'll let you know whether our show is going or not. So if you're not subscribed, be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you next week.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining us for the RV Living Show. We hope this episode helps you in creating an RV life you love.
Until next time, we encourage you to stop wondering and